Hi, welcome to another webinar from the Teaching with Small Boats Alliance. Today we're going to interview Dick Wagner from the Center for Wooden Boats, and I'm Joe Uch, and I'll be doing the interview. So Dick, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've been doing this work well for longer than any. I mean, you were, I mean, the only real word is gracious. You were so gracious to me when I got started doing this back in 1992, which, scary to say, is actually 1991. So scary to say that's however many years ago, 23 years ago. So this is a real treat for me, and I've always loved. I mean, aside from all the wisdom and knowledge, and thoughtfulness and example that you've provided, I've always really loved listening to your stories. And so I thought we'd start out with asking you for some of your best stories about working with kids and working with families.
Yeah, that's probably the reason I come to work every day is because of the adventure I have in seeing other people have their new inventions. I have broke that down into three parts. Number one, Ron Snyder and Alternative School number one was an important part of our ideas about how to bring in youth and how else can we change their or give them an idea of how smart they are in handling complex things. Anyway, Ron Snyder was a principal of alternative schools, and it was from K through 8th grade. And the 7th and 8th graders, after I talked to the principal, said, "Do what you want to do." He was very impressed with any kind of hands-on education. And so as the 7th and 8th graders started building boats with their parents and teachers in their shop, and they built also pond models, 39-inch long pond models. That's a sloop that we have. It's a model's size. For the pirate that we really have, which is 39 feet long. They were the boats that they had were sailing. You could row them too, but they had sailing and a drop keel, and they used the boats and so much that they decided to have a alternative yacht club. It's the first yacht club I think ever for 7th and 8th graders, and their first president, who was a girl, gave a talk to the Seattle Yacht Club about what they were doing, and they designed their flag icon, which is a bone in her teeth. So when all our boats sailed with that pennant. And also, during that time, their parents and kids together carved a 40-foot Haida canoe with supervision of the Sedut's, a Haida native who's works for the Center for Wooden Boats, or as our and that's what he does. Is he works with people building canoes. Another part of are working with young people and families were the all aboard summer camps at Seattle and at Kama Beach, our campus in Camino Island. The teenagers learned to sail and build boats there, and they live with pride of accomplishments. They learn teamwork and leadership and solving complex problems, as I said before. And it's a the having them without their in an educational program where they don't have to use textbooks or computers, where they had to sort of work by with mentors to learn how to sail a boat and build a boat. No books allowed.
Now, I remember. I said I remember Ron Snyder from back in the early '90s.
Yes.
Do you see any of the now adults? I mean, those kids that went through the program. Do they ever come back as adults?
Yes. Yeah. There's several of them drop in from time to time, and they've every single one says, Dick, you changed my life. And it's true. Some of them got through very well in high school, and got jobs and got married and had kids. And others went on to community college, and some into universities too. And so there's a big change, and they said it. I didn't. That the thrills that they had at the Center for Wooden Boats is I had the same kind of thrills just watching them, and how they learned things, and they and that was the backbone of the Ron Snyder's 7th and 8th graders, was the backbone of our youth and program with the families.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so I interrupted you talking about Kama Beach, but that's a very different type of environment than the Center for Wooden Boats on Lake Union in Seattle. I mean, Kama Beach is this idyllic, hunting and fishing camp.
That's right.
Right on the water.
Yeah. But those same kids came to the Kama Beach program. Yeah, it's a different environment, but they still have problems, and the teenagers about what should we do after school. Have some pot. Get some beer. Anyway, they were people that really needed some experience in solving these problems with direct experience, and so it's the same way. Their parents came, and they were helped a lot by the people. It's a working place at in the beginning, where most of the families were making their living either fishing or logging. So they learned a lot more than the fishing and logging that they had at home.
And are any of those families still, in touch with with you and with the center?
Yes, they are. There are several of them have over the years came back as volunteers after they got out of high school, and so yeah, they're just a it, it's they have all done well beyond. Uh, uh, they did well because they were realized through the teachers how to make things without reading a book about it.
Yeah.
A third type were programs for people with physical disabilities. That got started through one of our board members who said, "What are you doing about these people that come down in a wheelchair?" And so anyway, I started a program for physically disabled people, and in the beginning they were just they would come down with their families and in wheelchairs, so we'd get them in sailboats, and they learned how to sail very, very quickly, and the word got around, and then some group of people who were blind and another group of people that are deaf also asked for the same things, sessions and that. And all the time they were coming with their families, and the blind people would come with their dogs, of course, who would go with them on the boats. But otherwise they were just going with an instructor, and they learned very easily, very quickly. They sort of made their own new abilities to replace the ones they lost, and they also we had some groups that had mental problems, and they came and they worked some in the shop. We gave them possible things, and some on the library. They really were all of them worked together, and were very very proud of the Center for Wind Boats, and that they were playing a role in it. And the wheelchair people also, they were the majority, and after about 5 years or so of teaching classes every summer, they formed their own nonprofit organization called Footloose. They raised the money as a nonprofit, and they have meetings at the Center for Wooden Boats, and they raised enough money to build their own boats. So it's pretty hard to give them. Well, the Center for Wooden Boats is a historic museum, and we're generally people that are deaf or blind or wheelchair bound are not usually found there, and we have a lot of friends with that.
I mean, I think that's absolutely wonderful. I mean, did you have to make any kind of special accommodations with the boats for the folks in the wheelchairs to use?
Actually, we had a team that were veterans in the hospital, the Veterans Hospital, and they came first and as a trial, and when they because there was so much interest in it, there was almost a revolt in the hospital because they had about 200 people that said I want to go, and I said we could only take two at a time, and so it was sort of a battle of these people to get out of their wheelchairs and on the boats.
That's great. I mean, that's great. I know that one of the presentations that you're heading up for the conference, for the Teaching with Small Boats conference this coming spring in Port Townsend, is going to be on accessible sailing and boating. So
yeah,
really looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Great. Well, thank you for taking us through those stories. And like I said, I mean, I think there's it's just great to hear them and to see what some of the possibilities are for the type of work that we can do in our communities.